Alright, good morning. Can you guys hear me in YouTube land? Please let me know. And if there's a problem in Discord, let me know there as well. Thank you, Gabrielle. Appreciate it. I'll be back in 90 seconds. Just disclaimer real quick.
Risk disclosure statement. There is a risk of loss in trading stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, derivatives, options, forex, and cryptocurrencies. This risk can be substantial, and therefore investors should carefully consider their financial suitability prior to trading. Past performance is not indicative of future performance. The software, strategies, chat rooms, websites, and any associated websites are digital venues for educational purposes only and should not be construed as an express or implied promise or guarantee that you will profit or that losses may be limited in any manner whatsoever. Users of the information accept sole responsibility for the outcomes of their deployment and most applicants trader, LLC, and any associated companies, agents, management, owners, and customers farmers without reservation. Please trade responsibly. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, Rule 4.41, hypothetical and simulated trading performance results have certain inherent limitations, some of which are described herein. No representation is being made that any account below is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those shown. In fact, there are frequently sharp differences between hypothetical or simulated performance results and the actual results subsequently achieved by any particular trading program. One of the limitations of hypothetical performance results is that they are generally prepared with the benefit of hindsight. In addition, hypothetical trading does not involve financial risk, and no hypothetical trading record can completely account for the impact of financial risk in actual trading. For example, the ability to withstand losses or adhere to a particular trading program in spite of trading losses are material points which can also adversely affect actual trading results. Because these trades have not actually been executed, the hypothetical results may have under or overcompensated for the impact, if any, of certain market factors such as lack of liquidity. There are numerous other factors related to markets in general or to the implementation of any specific trading program which cannot be fully accounted for in simulated trading or in the preparation of hypothetical performance results at all, of which can adversely affect actual trading results.
Bookmap Iceberg sells EO 150 contracts.
Extremely risky if you decide on my personal trading, so remember, and potentially lose your entire company more. I'm not allowed to go and have 15 drawdowns on my trading account. The spreadsheet you have access to is my personal spreadsheet that I use at zone values and APR values, and I'll be able to exact prices for my trades. You can see when I add zone prices into my spreadsheet as well as prices in the trades, whether you want to go long or short. You have the ability to copy this spreadsheet and enter your own values and use online to confirm zone prices and figure out your zone spread for yourself. The spreadsheet is not telling you which direction trades, and it has your prices and stop prices for both long and short positions depending on which way you personally decide to trade. Alrighty. Good morning. Markets are actually picking up for once. Start of the new year, it's been very active trade, so that's a good thing for us. Last feels like probably 6 months, at least the last 3 have been horrible trades as far as day trading and volatility, and so stuff's starting to pick up, which is a good thing. All right, I got 2 trades on here actually. I just got out of some of this crude long. You can see this buy ice down here. So the way I trade is I look for the most important thing, and it's these Bookmap SI indicator events that is derived from the CME MBO data, the enhanced data that shows icebergs and stop runs. Icebergs are big money most of the time because these firms are trying to hide their orders, so they'll have just a percentage showing in the order books, that not showing the full amount, and then when it's traded into, then it shows us anyway, shows anyone that has Bookmap and that can read this information. So incredible information. It's the core of my trading. Talk about it nonstop because it's the core of my trading. So anyway, what I look for are these volume events in areas I deem important. So this particular event was back into this inflection zone. So this is called an Izzy zone for short. Overall, this market looks pretty bullish. It depends on what happens in this zone. You can see it already failed out of there one time. We'll go over this a little bit, but this was first it was a failed breakout, came down through there, and then held this zone, and then huge directional conviction out of here, right back through here. So that is obviously bullish. Depending on now, if it can get through this puppy, then this thing is going to rip, in my opinion. So how do I use that to my advantage? Well, I'm a day trader. I'll trade both ways. Like for instance, if we come up into this zone right here and I get a short setup, I will take the short, even though it's looking like this thing's going to rip off the page if it gets through this zone. But I will still take a short based on my rules. If I get a volume event that's bearish, I will take in an important area. I will take the short. But what I do is I'll come up with a thesis from so many years of experience of watching structure and other things that I use, and if I get real-time volume events that are happening right now in the direction that I think, then I could trade bigger size, right? This one, I am bullish. Like I said, shorter term, fail breakdown yesterday, breakout. You can see retested this little balance area and launched out. I was going to trade this bigger size, but there was a couple things against it, and we talk about all the time. So, not everything in trading is just slap you in the face. Most stuff is not slap you in the face, right? We talk about using a scale or, a hypothetical scale to judge, if you want to trade your areas bigger or not, right? So you have bearish things that are happening, bullish things are happening. So bullish, I know that had that failed breakdown of the balance I just showed you, broke out of the balance from yesterday, came back, that's bullish. On the bearish side, you can see here, so I use these to come up with the thesis as well, and the Ludwig levels here. This did form new lugs to the upside, and when it does that, it should hold directional yellow prior red, and you expect the next red, and that actually pretty much happened, but then it got back below here, and it's still not above the yellow lug, and I just got out of some here, and I'll go over that, but the point is this still doesn't look completely bullish to me. This may make another trip down to the blue. Just coming up with the thesis, right? And then this, at the time when I entered this trade, this market was back in this market profile composite when I entered it, and so most of the time, majority of the time, when markets accept back in the market profile composites, they'll travel to the other side. So at the time I entered this, it was still in here, so I wasn't gung-ho bullish, right? So we talked about the scale, we talked about things that were bullish. On the bearish side, there were a couple of things, so I still took the trade, I just didn't take a bigger side. Now if we get inside this one and I start getting volume events and it clears that inflection zone that I just showed you, then I'm going to trade any long setups bigger, right? So obviously this is a very important zone. This was a lot of stuff that happened here, gap up. So these zones are drawn on four different principles of market structure, right? Tops and bottoms of balance areas, high volume nodes of balance areas. That's pretty much where most trade occurred in a balance area. Directional conviction and buying and selling tails. So here you can see you had a buying tail, you had directional conviction, gaps are directional conviction, then you had selling tail, huge directional conviction, and it just failed here again. So that's how I draw these zones. These are available to you guys as well. They're available free to my trade room. If you can't get in the trade room, you can get access to all this stuff here. I post this every week in YouTube. It's already in Discord. It's in the pinned messages as well. We'll go over most of the stuff as we go. I'll post this in there. Anyway, you can, it's down here if you want to get the spreadsheet that I'm using and the zones. They're all right here that you can get, right? So again, it's free to my trade room, but if you can't get in there, you still have access to it now. And this is the zone drawing tool. It's beta for now.
NQ Iceberg by NQ, 248 contracts.
It's beta right now.
Iceberg by RT. 184 contracts.
Come back to that. I have a long Russell trade on here, and now, so I was long off of this event. We'll go over this, and now I'm going to trail my stop and possibly add to this event. You can see this coming in right now, 250. Yes, the last 2 days there has been something very, very strange going on in Russell as far as just monster buy ice. All right, so this area is extremely important when it comes back. Whoever bought here wasn't feeling really good, right? So again, you don't know what they're doing. You're never going to know. You just know the area is important because somebody was selling, somebody was buying. The buyer is wrong. Same thing happened yesterday, and I'll show you this on the Bookmap chart. It wasn't tradable because it was just setup. This is, and you can see overnight here, this bounced off here multiple times. This is the algo guy. We'll talk about that. But you can see this is responding to this area because whoever got loaded up here is probably saying, oh, crap, get me out when it comes back. Start peeling out of this trade. We were wrong. Right? So it tested it there. Didn't quite get there.
Stock by GC, 240 contracts.
So I'm long right now. Russell will go over that. I'm keeping a very, very close eye. I will be shocked if this thing can just rip right through this event. That are all these events that happened yesterday. Because these guys, again, you have to view it in very simplistic terms. These guys, Just imagine if you're a big trader. And again,
Iceberg by ZM, 150 contracts.
everything I do is based on my experience as a large scalper back in the day, right? So, I used to trade thousands of E-mini contracts a day. 50,000. I average 50,000 every day, right? 50,000 round turns. That's very active. So I have a lot of volume experience. So I know how I used to react when I was loaded up. I know how other players used to react when they were loaded up. Back then you can see counterparties who you're trading against. So the point is, everything that I'm showing you
NQ Iceberg by NQ, 250 for contracts.
is not hypothetical. It's
Iceberg by RT, 178 contracts.
based on my experience. So anyway, we'll get into all that stuff later. So this is, you can see this is coming in right here. This triggered here. You can see the automatic zone drawing tool working perfectly. The thing is incredible. What I was getting to, it's a beta where it's about to go live on the Bookmap Marketplace probably this week. So you can still get beta. Click on that link and contact Andrew. You can try it out for at least a couple days here before we go live. But it's a godsend. So you can see here, this is probably one house. Came down, triggered buy ice, more buy ice. And this is huge, right? This is what's been going on here. I'm going to show you this chart here in a second from the last couple of days. It's been crazy. Anyway, this was, okay, 260. My threshold in Russell is 150. And this was almost 500. So you've got 4 times threshold just in this one little area. So I'm currently long. I'm going to trail my stop to this. So this is what I do. I find these zones and I plug them into my spreadsheet. So let's go over here. So the top of the zone is 19. So again, I'm combining these two, 1983.3, and the bottom of the zone here is 1981.2, and you plug in the ever important ATR. This is a 5-minute while there's ATR, 14 period. It's defaulted on Thinkorswim. You can get it on most trading platforms. Very important. It's just telling me the current volatility of this market. It's rotating about 56 ticks every 5 minutes. So very important part of trading, where you shouldn't be using static stops. We don't use static stops or entries. We base it off of the zone and base it off of the ATR. All right, so this current setup, I was long from lower. I'll show you that, why I did that, but now I'm going to trail my stop. My stop was much lower. Now I'm going to trail it to 1974.8. which is the way I trade these is from watching about 1 million of them. I understand how the market usually reacts to these areas, so this should not be able to push an ATR below this zone. ATR plus like 15% we use if it's going to stay bullish, right? If it does that, then this is a bearish setup. Then I can flip and potentially go short, so on and so forth. So let me trail these stops real quick. 1974.8. So I had Barkin Izzy on. I'll show you that here in a second. And then before I show you this entry, because it's obviously not real time, this is real time. And I'm going to potentially trade off of this area too, off of this event too. I just want to see where we're at. Kind of in the middle of nowhere, so no Izzy. Algo guy has pulled bullish, so I use this as my filter for Bark and Lick trades. We'll go over that, but the blue, the short-term exponential moving average, is above the red, so that's my filter for these Bark and Lick trades that are more aggressive trades. I need to have that filter, so that's bullish. So I could add to my long off of this event, depending what happens here. Other than that, if this turns bearish, there's not much I'm going to do right here off of this particular event. I just want to see something real quick. Where are we at, Russell? So you can see it bounced off this yellow lug a couple times. So nothing really to do on the short side off of this event because Algo guy is bullish as of right now. Let's go over to NASDAQ and see what's going on here. I was really whipping around yesterday. I was here for the morning. Wasn't here for the afternoon, but I was just looking at the setups and they looked like they were perfect. It was just like a stop run, bounced off, stop run up at the high, bounced down. It was, or not bounced down, but you know what I mean, moved down. So missed that trade, of course, because I was not here. But anyway, so you can see the spike here in this buying iceberg. This was a 300, so this is already over two times threshold that triggered right there. And you want to, the way you draw these zones, you know, this draws automatically, but sometimes you have to adjust this thing. So as of right now, so you can see the spiked over here, spiked again, and you just follow it up. Right now, I would move the top down to here, because when it flatlines, there's no more coming in at the time, right? But we're not done with it, so let's just see if this spiked a little higher. It did not, so I'm going to move the top of that to right here. And you got, sometimes you got to really spread out these charts, especially in NASDAQ, because they're very difficult to draw sometimes. So you can see the spike right there. There was another spike right here. You can look at the numbers too, right? It went from the 319 to 329. So I know the buy ice is still coming in there. So I will adjust this. Awesome scroll feature on this zone tool as well. Zone drawing tool. All right, so that's my current NASDAQ zone. I don't think more came in there. Yeah, there did. I'm sorry. So let's see if this looks like it was just inside. Just triggered more, basically at the same price here, right? So I incorporated both these icebergs in the zone, 332, another 252, close to 600 icebergs. Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't see this up here. I thought it was right in the same area. Let's see. That triggered there. Let's see if this spiked up anymore. It did not. So I don't think that went up. That did not go up to here. So I'm going to use this. I'm just going to go like this. Actually, I'm just going to make this one zone. So that is the buy ice. So most of these you don't have to adjust. NASDAQ's a little
Net gas
weirder.
ice iceberg by NG, 152 contracts.
Well, actually, we got the crude number and the nat gas number today. I forgot about that because Monday was a holiday. So I am long crude. I got out of some. We'll go over that trade too. But I'm not going to hold it into the number. It's not for... Actually, it's at 10 o'clock on Thursdays, right? Yeah. So we got a little time. 10 o'clock Central. I'm on Mountain Standard Time. All right, so let's plug this zone in. This already looks like this is a bullish setup. So 16,505 down to 16,498.50. So you plug that in the spreadsheet. NASDAQ here, 16. I think that's what I said. And current ATR is 22. So natural gas is coming out at the normal time at 9:30 here, and then crude comes out at 10 o'clock on Thursdays when there's a holiday. So got to keep an eye on that. All right, so let's see if this, now everything's in this spreadsheet. You plug it in, you plug in your ATR, and it tells you if it validated either long or short based on my rules, based on watching a million of these things, right? So validation for long needed to touch 527.25. Got there, and actually this is a trade we have in the room too. This is the ATR reversion trade where it gets an ATR and comes back to the zone. Happens ridiculously often in all these markets. These algos pick up the size and it just tends to come back here. So we've taken it. I'll go in and hopefully get into how that even evolved. That this trade setup was basically because we were studying trading in the zone, and it talks about coming up with, if you have an edge and coming up with a setup. And I always talked about how these zones retest at least 70% of the time, and I said, hey, why don't we come up with a trade plan on that as well? So there's two different trades I'm taking. I'm taking position trades looking for bigger moves, and then there's reversion trades that play for the move back to the volume event. I don't take the reversion trades on webinars almost never, just because they're just very fleet. It's like a scalp trade, right? You got to be on top of it, changing stuff, and it's just, I can't keep up with it when I'm watching all these markets on these webinars. So anyway, this is a bullish setup. If we go ATR retest failure, I could potentially put on different trade strategies here. Let's confirm. So I got my filter algo guy is bullish, so I already know I could put on barks and potentially licks. We'll go over what I'm talking about here if you've never been on these webinars. I don't really see, there's some lick up here. So it's not crazy heavy, but it's longer term. I'm looking for long-term resting liquidity. So that trade is literally just getting into a trade, waiting for the ATR retest and holding it all the way to the liquidity. So that's one trade I'd put on, and the bark trade. And these are these trading strategies that I am currently using. So these are basically just important areas that that I deem important, that I look for it's exactly what I talked about when I first got on here, that I look for these real-time volume events in these areas. So here's the bark trade. It's basically any blind ATR retest failure, or we call it confirm now. That's why it's bark, ATR retest confirm of any volume event, because these events in their own right are the edge, right? when you can apply these events in important areas, it's even bigger an edge. But I know these just by themselves are an edge, so I will trade that. It's a more aggressive trade. You're going to be way more active in the market, but it's still an edge, so I still take them, right? So you can see the direction algo guy, that's confirmed, so I can take that one, and then I can take, not Izzy on this one, we got to look, I don't think it's Izzy, liquidity trade, so I just talked about that. So it needs an ATR retest confirm as well. Those are my rules just from watching a million of these. Some of them I get in aggressively. Izzy trades most of the time are aggressive entries. So they come down to an inflection zone. I don't wait. This crude trade is actually a perfect example that I will show you that I am in. I need to watch for the number here. So this was an Izzy trade. I already showed that entry, right? I got the buy ice in, aka a volume event, in this important zone. That's why it's there. It remains important. I took the long and I took it first move in there because these Izzy zones are very powerful in their own right. So I may not get the retest, and this is a perfect example. I did not get the retest confirmed, so that's why I get in these. First ATR out of there, I'm in. So this one I got in, and I got out of half of them, actually perfect at the time. Yep. See, and you can see how this is coming back to the zone now. This is just, you would be amazed at how often this happens. It's like just craziness. This is why we have a trade for this. We got 1 ATR, 2 ATR, 3 ATR. Most of these markets have sweet spots. Crudes usually ones and twos work great. You know, this looks like it might be the 3. We'll look at here in a second. But anyway, I'll show you what I got out of half of these. Actually, I got out of 60% up here at that high, and it was actually a great entry. That's a new one for me. I'm usually buying or selling to the exact high tech. So here we go. This is I get out, have half of my trade, almost always at yellow lug, and I got out of even more because you had yellow lug confluent with this market profile composite high, or low, I'm sorry, for this one. So you can see here something's up, right? This thing tried to get in, got out. Remember I said I didn't want to trade double size. If it got in here, I was ready to go. If not now, this is telling me something's wrong, right? So granted, I'll be out of this trade here in a half hour if I don't get stopped out of the rest here, but this is not what you want to see as far as thesis, right? Like this should have held and ripped. But anyway, I did get out of 60%, so if it does come back, I'm not going to take, I'll probably have a small winner and won't be that bad of a loss. Let me actually change this size in here. All right, so that is working. So this is what I traded off of when I put this on, right? So this was the zone. It was actually a 1-tick zone at the time. ATR was that. I got long at 76, and I got out of, again, 60% of them. I had 9 on, and I got out of, what did I get out of, 5? I think I got out of 5 at the yellow lug that I just showed you. So my stop is at 72.20. Let me adjust this for the remainder that I am on if it comes back. Right, so that's what I did there. And if this, and here we go. Actually, this is what I was going to show you. See what ATR trade this was too. Let's see here. Obviously, the 70 lost. I think the 2 ATR and the 3 ATR both worked here. So the 2 ATR you would have been short. This is a reversion trade. We're playing for a move back to the event, right? These are 2 different trades that I'm taking, or 2 different types of trades. This one is the reversion trade, like I just talked about, and this one got up here. So let's look at the price here. Yeah. So you would have been in at the 2 at 91, never stopped out of the 2. You could have gotten the 3 at 13. Let's see if I touched 3. Yeah, look at that. What do you know? What to the exact tick? Well, I wonder why we have these numbers. Look at that. That's why these algos, just for some reason, at the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s, snap it back to the volume event. So that's what we're playing for, and there you go. Right back to it. And actually, this is a new setup, so if you bought my course, you purchased my course, I'll be putting this in very shortly. I just needed a couple more instances. So we have a new trade coming out. I don't really want to get into it on this webinar because newer traders are probably confused as it is, thinking this is just too much to comprehend. It's really not. Once you understand it, it's very simplistic trading, and that's the way I like it. But it's called hot knife through butter. So if the market, we just looked at the traditional entries, but I've just seen this tendency. If a market goes 1 ATR, at least a 1 ATR, and at least a 1 ATR twice, and then comes back and goes to the zone, you can just literally short it the minute it breaks the zone and put your stop right above it and give it a shot. A great risk-reward trade, right? You got to be ready to get in a couple times, especially in crude. So this one I would, or the other, this one didn't go one ATR twice or two ATRs twice, whatever, but it did get to the 3 ATR. That's another way you can just jump in on this. You can see already, like if I jump, this is a 1 tick zone, so I could have got in here at 72.47 right when it broke the zone, and I've already got 14 ticks, and I was really risking was like 2 or 3 ticks. So that's already like a 5-to-1 trade. You see what I'm saying? So pretty fleeting. You got to be ready to get in a couple times. You got to be, I don't prefer this trade because I used to be this big scalper, obviously, right? I used to be flipping all day long. Like I'm just too old to be getting in, getting out, getting in. It just wears me out, right? But this trade is very valid, and there's a lot of guys taking it in my trade room. If you have the course or get the course, it will be updated here shortly with this this particular. That'll be the 7th wonder of the world. I have 6 distinct setups that I trade. I'll show you here quickly so you can follow along with what I'm doing here. Hold on. Sorry, I usually have this stuff up, ready to go. That's of course not right. See what NASDAQ's doing here real quick. So there's a retest there. So the reversion trade worked like a charm here too. Let's see how this one worked. Just see what the prices were. Got the natural gas number here in a minute. So this reversion, the 1 ATR was 25, the 2 is 44. I don't think it got to 44, right? So the 1 worked. We already talked about this. So this is ATR retest. Now if this moves out of here, I'm going long based on my bark and my lick. We already talked about that, right? So you got to make sure your ATR is up to date, obviously. So you're going to see how these prices change a little bit because now it's 23.22. So I was originally going along at 30.5. Now it's 31.75. See how this all adjusts for you based on the current volatility, and it adjusts your contract size too. So 4.17, I'll round up to 5 MNQ based on the account size. So the great thing about this, you put in your account size and you put on the risk per trade you're willing to lose. You should not be trading 10%. You should be trading about 2-3%. These are these Apex accounts. I talk about these all the time. These are all assigned different strategies. All my different strategies are assigned different Apex accounts, so I can keep track of the stats and so on and so forth. So that's what all these are here. But anyway, you should not be trading 10% of your account size because you're going to have a day where you basically, you have a couple losing trades and you can lose half of your account, and you don't want to be doing that. 2-3% max. Should be losing max 5 or 6% on an entire day. All right, so if this comes back, 31.75, I'm going long at 31, or I'm going long 5. This is bark and lick. Put this in. Bark and lick. All right, those are working. So you can see this held perfectly. Let's see. This wouldn't have been a hot knife through butter that I was just talking about because it wasn't 2 ones, right? I got 1 and came back, so I wouldn't have taken that trade anyway. But if it say this does this again and then comes back, then you can give it a shot and risk just above the zone. Again, I'm not going to get into that right now because it's not an official setup. It will be soon. I've been saying that for a couple months, but I just wanted some more. I wanted some more examples before I made it public. All right, so still didn't get stopped out of crude yet. I'm still long Russell, and I will go long. Thank you. Oh, that's what I was going to show you too, guys. Hold on here. I was going to put this reversion course out. I'm almost done with it, but I actually I signed on with a trading firm, and I'm going to automate this. So I'm not going to make. You can learn this in my trade room. I'm not going to put it out in the trading universe, right? Because I'm going to potentially dilute my edge in the market with this trade. So you can learn it in my room. I do it. I talk about it every day. I don't really take that many of them on my live trading webinars, but I talk about it every day. So if I like I said, I already agreed with this firm to do this. But the good thing, even though you don't have it as a course, you can still learn it from me in my room. I'm going to have exact stats for this. So we're going to know, because I get all the time like, well, what's the right ATR? Is it a 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Which ones do you take? And then we have different variations. Do you wait for the 2? Could take the 2 and take the 1 coming back. We call that the backdoor ATR, so on and so forth. We're going to have all those stats because it's going to be running automated, because I can't keep up with this by hand. So that's good news on that. We'll at least have the stats on that once I get that rolling with them. So this is the course. You can see here, these are all the setups that I personally take, right? These are the names of the setups that I take. Hot knife through butter, HTKB will be the 7th wonder of the world. You can see there's 6 of them here, right? So we've been talking about the actual strategies. So I look for these events in my important areas, and that's what makes this strategy. But so, like for instance, this was a Titanic setup, right? You got buy ice that held, that's Titanic setup. That's the first, or this one here, right? Then you have Dumb and Dumbers. That's when you get stop runs that fail. And those are pretty often, because usually stop runs are not initiative buying or selling. It's just retail traders puking. So anyway, that's a Titanic setup. This was a Titanic setup, right? This one I didn't take that one. Let's see. I'm sure we can find a Dumb and Dumber here in gold, because they stop runs fire off every 30 seconds in here. So this was actually a stop and hold. So when you get a stop run that holds and the big money comes behind it, because that's what's holding it, because again, this usually is not initiative buying. It's usually you guys puking. Well, if it holds the area, then someone coming in behind this and buying it, right? So this is a stop and hold. That's this one here. Right? So they're all in here, all in the course. So again, you can come in my trade room and learn all this stuff without the course, right? Because I go over it every day. It's going to take you a lot longer. If you join my training room or you want to learn the stuff and hit the ground running, then I highly recommend you get the course. You don't need it. You can figure it out yourself. So that's that. Let's see. So still long Russell here. So some areas I'm definitely, like I said, I'm going to show you this here right now too. I'm definitely watching this crazy. You can see overnight here how many times this thing tested this thing. So this was yesterday in the move down. Insanity buy ice. Here, I'll just show you here before we get into it, just so you can get the context of what I'm talking about here. Hold on here. No. It was yesterday. Look at this. I just laugh. I was on the webinar, my live trading webinar was happening. I'm just like, I've never seen anything like this. Look at that. So that is, somebody was just buying the bejesus out of this thing. And if you go back, then there's another one here too. Same exact thing happened up here. So you really want to pay attention to these areas when this market gets back. Same thing happened over here. And you can see overnight, retested it, failed it. So keep an eye on these exact areas. You are going to, like I said earlier, why I'm going to get out of this long once it gets back up here, I mean, if it can't get through here, is because I will be shocked, because that's how much size I just showed you was there. I've never seen anything like it. So pay attention, and all that is this area right here that I drew on the bar chart, right? That to that. Nutty. I don't even know how many thousands it was, but it was the most I've ever seen. So keep an eye on it. Anyway, I'm long. I watch that area. And I would love to go short in that area if it gets up there, because like I said, you got to think about it like those guys are way off sides. Whoever bought up there, you got to just assume they're initiating positions. I get it all the time. What were they doing there? You don't know. They could have been hedging, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You're never going to know. Stop wasting your time thinking about it. Just know the area is important. There were buyers and sellers huge in that area. Somebody's right, somebody's wrong when it comes back to that area.
Night gas ice iceberg by NG. 150 contract.
It's going to react very, 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 very likely. So that's all you need to know with these events. You don't need to know why they're doing what they're doing. Why are you wasting your time even thinking about it? You're not going to know, right? All right, so I stopped out of the rest of that crude trade. I got out of them, majority of them up here, the high tech, which is very rare for me. I usually get filled at the high tech going long, but so I stopped out of here. So this is a good example too, the hot knife through butter, the new setup that's coming out. You could have got in here. That was a decent trade. It was 4 or 5 to 1. Then it did that. Then you might want to enter in twice, and then now you got Again, you're risking like 2 ticks. This is now a 30 tick trade. It's 15 to 1 just on that move, right? So that's coming. If you got the course, I will be put in there. I will have it in there by this weekend because I got enough examples now. All right, so you got some stuff. Nat gas number obviously just came out. Nothing really crazy here. So there's nothing going on right now, guys. I know how you love trading this crappy ES, so let's just see. I'll come back to natural gas here in a second. So here's a good market pulse example. I'll show you a couple. Like I just saw a webinar with Bruce. It was awesome about price change when the markets are really dead. If you guys like scalping, this is the trade for you. But you can see here, this is the routine. If you're gonna scalp, so many literally I get emails every day asking me about scalping, trading that. I don't even look at that anymore. It is useless in my opinion. And this is how I made my millions of dollars at the time, was just trading off of the dome. If I can't make money doing it, there's probably a good reason. I say it every webinar, right? If you think you can make money off of this, God bless you. God bless you. In the meantime, the best way if you are going to scalp is using Market Pulse. You can use so this is just showing me the heaviest buying or selling. I have it set for an hour. Then you can see how this market, I'll show you this here in a second, retested it and failed. These are the trades. For the scalp, and then there's this price change algo too, and I'm sure it's working great today because the market's not doing anything. So this is, let's see, is this the 5 minute or the hour? That's the 5 minute. So you can see here, it's just so enlightening, right? Even if you're not taking these trades, if you can see what the hell, what these algos are trading off of, it just starts to clear things up for you in your mind instead of feeling like the market's out to get you, and it's just a rotate, chop fest, so on and so forth. If you can understand what's going on, it just clears stuff up, whether you trade it or not, right? You can see every time this market made an outsized move, this is just for 5 minute moves, right? Rejected, rejected, rejected. Bruce talks about this in this webinar. I think I posted it last week. Let me see if I can find it here for you guys. Really, really interesting. I haven't even begun to look at it. Actually, he's going to come in my room and do a webinar for us here. Let me get this for you guys real quick. Let's see. I know I posted it a while ago. Well worth your watch if you want to scalp. If you don't want it, there's my Madam Shizzle 0. Love it. Hopefully we get that today. I'm always cheering for the markets to go to 0. When did I post this thing? There it is right here. All right, I'm going to post this in the YouTube room. Watch it. Very, very... I started watching it and I'm like, wow, that is amazing. Then I started watching it on my own. I'm like, that's pretty incredible. Steve says, where am I getting the current ATR from? So I'm using Thinkorswim. You can get... Thinkorswim. You can get it. You can get it on... Sierra chart, you can get it on Ninja Trader. It's just a 14 period ATR Wilders right there. Right, that's all it is. So you can see the ES right now is it's actually not bad. 4.24. It's actually not bad. For the last 2 months, it's been like 2. All right, so that's that. So watch that. But anyway, it's pretty amazing. So the thing about this is it works until it doesn't work, right? When there's nothing going on in here, which is 80% of the time, algos run the show. It's 20% of the time, probably less than that, the big money plays. Well, price change algo is not going to get his head ripped off when these are playing for these little fleeting moves. Well, when big money comes in, you're going to see a price change and you're going to fade it and you're going to get your head ripped off, right? So you've got to understand it works until it doesn't work, because when the big money comes in here, or you get a stop run and it goes outsized, and you fade it, these all would have worked great so far, you're going to get your head crushed, right? Here's an example yesterday from Krug as I was looking at it, and I'm starting to see stuff on how to not stop out. So say, here, I'll give you the example yesterday, because I was long Krug before I left, and I got stopped out to the damn tick, and the thing ripped like 100 ticks after that, and I saw this, if I can get this going, let's see here. Let's see, right here. So this is crude. Like, just look, it's every market in its algo city. Look at these algos in here. It looks like a Christmas tree. It's algo city. Every time this thing made a big price move, rejected. Rejected. You can't really see that. It's all scrunched up. Again, this is a screenshot. This is where I stopped out of this trade. So I'm going to work on this as well. This is why it's just, guys, having Bookmap is like you have your own. You're working for your own trading firm, and they just keep coming out with all these tools for you, right? So what I'm saying is, so my stop was literally at this low tick. It was at because I traded off of this. Was it this event or this event? I think it was this event here. I think. No, it wasn't because that was back here. It was this one here. Yeah, I think this was on my webinar actually. But anyway, I got long off of this, and my stop was the ATR below here. Well, it comes back here. Actually, I wasn't watching this. I should have trailed to this, but it doesn't matter. Came here from this explanation, doesn't matter. And that was the big price change algo. You can be watching this and say, okay, I'll stop out, but I'm not stopping out when I know these algos are going to snap that thing back. Or if you do get stopped out, just hop right back in. As you know, it's very likely these algos are going to snap it back. You can see every time this thing touches the extreme move for that 5-minute period, it snaps back. So yeah, it's great when there's just algos in here, when the big money plays and you're going to get killed. So just know that if you're going to try to scalp off that. There'll be more on that in the future once I meet with Bruce, and because this is this market pulse, right? I'm using, and we'll go back to this market pulse trade you could have taken based on the buying or selling, not price change. So you can see these different algos in here. You got, look at all this stuff. So I need to learn this too. I'm trading volume, pressure, and balance as my main market pulse, and that's what I'll show you here in a second. But this one's the price change. You have spread change, sweeps, pressure, sweeps. Look at all this. So kudos to me to even have this information, because I went to Bookmap and said, you guys need to get this type of, I'll show you. So I still use Tick Strike, but this is Tick Strike on steroids. So this is, I didn't have it running here this entire time. I got to go up now. So this is basically an algo that shows me the most buying or selling. It's just telling you the size of the order and the speed of the order is coming in. It's very useful. I don't know why this thing disconnected here. Hold on. Let me get these over here. So very useful. I've used it for 15 years. I continue to use it. I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it because when you have a position going against you, there's nothing worse than watching it and listening to it. It drives me absolutely up a wall. But I need it. I want to know when other stuff's firing off in other markets, and it can help you, really help you in important areas. So if you see this, for instance, I'm long Russell still, right? If I see this come up to an important area and I hear silence, I mean, obviously the FANG stocks aren't, or whatever they call them now, Mag 7. If I see silence in these, or I don't see big buying or selling in Russell, that gives me more confidence of getting out at the area, right? I don't see enough to push through an area. If it comes up to an important area and these things are going nuts, then I can maybe hold on to it, right? So that's how this helps me too. But going back to this is basically Tick Strike on steroids, right? Because Tick Strike does not have any kind of history. So I can't go back, and I've asked them for this for about 15 years. I can't go back and say, okay, so what did the market do when there was extreme selling, based on the last hour or so? You don't have that information with Tick Strike. I wish they would get it. They just never got it. Still use it. Still important. Still get discounts to it on my website. It's in that document. I highly recommend it, but this is just a different look, and you can see all the different variations they have of this too. So anyway, so long here. What I was going to show you is this Tick Strike here at the time. And you guys remember, this is fleeting stuff. This is just like the price change is fleeting, so is this a lot of times, right? But this was at the time. You could have caught a decent little scalp here, right? This is not SI indicator stuff. This is, what is this? Hold on. I don't want CBD. There it is right here, right? So you can see here, I have this set to 1 hour. This was the most buying. The delta was at 90%. This is 90% of the most buying in the last hour, right? So you had the price change here too. So both of them you could have faded. See the price change right there? Instant fade. But I'm not using that. I wouldn't be using that in this instance, what I'm showing you, right? So I'm hopefully Johan, he's in my trade room. He's a brilliant dude. He's the one who developed the zone drawer. I'm hoping he can figure out how to draw a zone for these spikes, because it is kind of hard, and it's pretty quick stuff too, right? It's a scalp, so you got to sit here and try to figure out, okay, where was that? I mean, you can use your crosshair, right? But it's just difficult sometimes to see, okay, where did that big buying start? Right here, see where it turns yellow? Yeah, it started there and then continued all the way up to here. So the way that was basically 56 up to 57.50, right? So this is the routine. It just happens so often. This is how you can scalp it, right? So not sure if this one fully worked, but it moves away. These are just like the SI events because it's volume. It's things that are happening real time where traders are caught. So imagine you're that buyer. Imagine it does that. What are you doing? You're either puking or you're saying, please, please, please come back so I can get the hell out of the trade. There you go, right? Buyer's aggressive, buyer's off sides, comes back, said, get me out. There's the next wave down, right? So the way you would do this is I wouldn't, from what I've seen, again, this isn't an official trade yet. I'm working out. There'll be a course for this eventually too. But the way I've seen this is if it fails, I don't just jump in first failure out of this area. I wait for it to come back on the new low. I'll take the short and then just risk above. And you can see that would be more of a scalp trade. And it's very fleeting. They can just come down and the sellers could be off sides and go the other way. So you got to be ready to get in and out of this thing. And this one didn't do much. And this one actually would have stopped out. That's percentages. I guarantee you I can find probably 5 of them that work just today. So keep an eye on that. That's the market pulse. Keep an eye on this price change too. Nothing official with this yet, but I'm when the market's dead, this thing is golden, right? When it's not, you're going to get killed using it, so be careful. All right, I need to take a breath. You guys got questions, throw them in the YouTube, please. All right, what did I just fill on? What did I just fill on? Hold on. Oh, that was a NASDAQ, so I'm long NASDAQ. Remember, that took a long time. Hold on here. I hope this didn't invalidate. No, all right, I'm fine. All right, so I'm long NASDAQ, took forever. It's literally, this has been working since I got on the webinar. So you got the volume event, you got the ATR, you got the retest. It did this for half an hour, and I just filled. So now my stop goes and ATR below here. And now I'm going to start to look for places if this starts ripping where I'm going to start peeling out of some of this trade potentially. So what I did do wrong here, because I'm on the webinar, I didn't keep up with my ATR. So this was 21.84, so I could have been filled at a better price. So watch when I add this in, I filled at 31.75. I could have filled at 30, so I just cost myself 1 3/4 points because I wasn't on top of this. That's why when you got orders working, stay on top of your ATR. So now I filled there, stops at 73.50. I have Bark and Licon. Put this in here. So I'm long now Russell and NQ. Not real happy about it because I think these markets are going to get smushed, but I follow my trade plan, right? Very rarely do I trade off gut anymore because you're trading against algos. You have to trade like an algo. If your parameters are there for a trade, this is why traders fail because they're like, this one doesn't feel good. I just lost 4 trades in a row. This feels terrible. I take the trade, right? If the market's truly bearish, you're not going to be. You shouldn't be seeing.
500 to contract.
You shouldn't be seeing bullish events anyway. So this was the bark. This was the lick. Algo guy was my favorite. I took the trade. Am I bullish this market? No. I think it's going to get crushed. But I'm a day trader, so I'm putting on trades both ways if my rules conform. And you can see this is actually a very important level, and it's probably going to struggle here. This is where this market gapped down overnight. This is the bottom of 2-day balance. Very likely this would fail here. So, I usually would get out of some here. Am I going to get out of some with a 3-point winner? No. I just got to hope it can push through here. Is it going to surprise me if it doesn't push through here? Not at all. But I took my trade like I was supposed to. If it gets up into this zone, I'm definitely going to be looking to get out of some. But this could easily fail here. If I got a volume event here, and this failed, I would take an IZZY inflection zone short. Right? So we'll see what happens here. But these are important areas. You could say, I tell my trading room this every day. You need to come up. What I do is to show you guys how to come up with your own trade plan because you don't want to be mirroring anybody's trades, right? Ever. You want to come up and understand how to do this yourself. Well, you may say, hey, the volume event's there. Yeah, I did ATR retest failure, but I don't want to enter right in that important zone, so I'm going to pass on this long. That's fine. You just got to be consistent with it, right? I entered it, but it wouldn't surprise me if this failed right here. So, trades on, see what happens. Let's see what's going on in Mr. Russell. Just hanging around this zone. So like I said, I'm long from this event down here. I could go long. I could add to this if this does the ATR retest of this last event here. Let's just see what that validation price is. Let's make sure this is right. This is down to 48.3, 4.83. So that validation price to make that volume event bullish is 81, last 2 digits. has not gotten there yet. So if this does do this, then I will add to my bark trade that I took off of that. Bark and, what do we have? Bark and, was it Izzy? Hold on, let me check what I have here. I got Bark, yeah, Bark and Izzy. So the other trade I put on, this one was aggressive. I didn't wait for the retest. That was into this zone, right? An important area that I deem important by event took that long. So now, see what happens with this zone. No questions? I'm just that good of an educator, I guess. I know I say the same stuff every time, guys, but all right. Anything in? So if you're posting in Discord, I'll look now, but try to post in YouTube because it's hard for me to go back and forth. Let's take a look here. Chris says, hello, Scott, are there any New Year's Eve discount offers for your new course? Well, it's not New Year's Eve anymore, so no. If you join my trade room, you get it, depending on the length of the subscription, you get a discount. So as of right now, there's no discounts to that course. Guys, the course is, in my opinion, I mean, obviously I made it. I put a lot of time into it. It's everything I do. It's everything I deem important. I feel it's, if you look at some other educators out there, and I'm using air quotes, that actually have never made money and they're just making courses on hypothetical crap, it's pretty undervalued. I see some of this stuff like going for 10 grand, 15 grand. It's like, well, that's just nuts. So anyway, it's relatively, yeah, it's expensive, but trading relativity, it's not expensive. And I'll get emails like, oh, I can't afford your course, so I guess I'm not. Guys, and that's fine. Listen, hey, I've been there. I've been there for years, right? I'm not a $1 million trader anymore either, and I cut costs everywhere I can. But if you can't afford the course, or you can't afford Bookmap and the SI indicator, then you may want to rethink trading, right? Like right now, until you can get a bankroll. Or the other option is, that leads me as a good segue into this stuff, right? Highly recommend this, and this is what I'm using for all these accounts. And I use this stuff because I used to trade first of all, I never had these broken down into individual strategies, right? I would just say, oh, here's a slug, here's a lick, and I'd take the trade, and it was all on a live account, and so on and so forth. I broke these down into each individual so we can get accurate stats. But the other problem is too, and if you're in my trade room or see any of my Bookmap webinars, this happens all the time, I've cost myself tens of thousands of dollars by being on these webinars and making mistakes, like forgetting to take out orders, didn't put the order in, missed the trade, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get all of these live and trade all of these, and then it's not going to hurt as bad if I lose it, right? It's different if I'm trading my own funds on these webinars and for these strategies, and I'm dumping away money for no reason because I'm making stupid mistakes, and I got to pay my mortgage, right? That's a big difference. So I'm okay with getting these all live, and if I do make a mistake and blow them out, then it's basically just my investment in the Apex. So quickly there's new events, but that's all on here, guys. Too, they have some sale. I guess it's ended tonight, but they usually come out with another one, but I don't know for sure. That's on here. This is the one I put my name behind. I know they're a dime a dozen now. They've done everything they say they're going to do. I've been using it for 2 years. Highly recommend it. Been paid out multiple times buying. This is how much they paid out traders. These are the ones you want to use. So you can use this code for any of the discounts that they have going. Pulcini 50, whatever they have, it works for. And then I do the $150,000 account. So the whole goal of this is you need to make that amount before you lose that amount, right? Pretty simple. The hard part about it is, especially when you're in the tryout mode, is you could be close to that. This has happened to me many, many times, right? In trading, especially the last 3 months, you're going to have some drawdowns, right? Especially when the trade sucks. So I've been close to these on probably 10, 15 times between all these strategies. I'll be up like 8 grand and I'll have a drawdown I'll lose one day, I'll lose like 2 grand or 1,000, or I'll pull back 5,000, put it that way. If you pull back 5,000, you're out of the count. So you can see it gets pretty annoying. You're up 8 grand and you pull back 5 grand over a few days or whatever. You shouldn't be losing that much in a day. But anyway, pull back. I'm still up $3,000 and I lose the account. So that's what you have to be cognizant of. But it does help you become a better trader, right? So you're controlling your risk. You can't pull back that 5,000, but once you're live, it's a little different. Yeah, the first 5,000, if you pull back, then you'll blow it out. But if you get up 10,000 and pull back 5,000, you don't blow out anymore. You got to pull back the full 10,000 if you go up 20,000, so on and so forth. And they pay you your first $25,000, 100%. You know, so this is like having your own trading firm behind you is what it's like, right? So highly recommend it. That's the one that I use. Put my name behind it for a reason. There's other ones out there. I've had problems with ones in the past when I was struggling. Everybody knows my story. $1 million trader, couldn't make $1 overnight. Literally had to get out of trading because I couldn't make any money anymore. I tried one main one. I'm not going to name the name, but it was a bunch of bullshit. They were just trying to get the trader to put the money up for the account, and they didn't really want to fund traders. Well, I mean, I don't know what else proof you need that this one is legit. One, I'm putting my name on it. That should be enough for you guys. But if it's not, you can see how much they paid out, right? So, and they have their own Discord. You can get in their Discord. That's right here. This is all on there. You've got emails for all this stuff if you guys are following them, but this is their Discord. Trust me, if they're not paying traders, you're going to know right away, right? I don't know which room that's in. I think it's the main chat. So you can see they're very transparent. That's when I put my name on. So that's that little rant. So I got into that to say if you're underfunded, if you can't afford things like Bookmap, SI Indicator, the course or whatever, then you need to really evaluate if you should be trading, because if you can't afford that stuff, your account size is not big enough to be trading, and or use Apex and get funded by them, and you don't have to risk your own money. That's probably the best route. Or even if you want to try this stuff. So once again, this is about you guys, me showing you this stuff, and then prove it to yourself. Don't take my word for it. I don't care if I said, hey, yeah, I just made $10 million. I did it in 2003, but say I did it in the next 6 months. Who gives a shit? Unless pardon my language, unless I'm splitting it with you, does it really matter? It's how are you going to make money with that, right? So, point is, I'm trying to teach you guys this stuff so you can do it on your own. And if you're underfunded or whatever, or you want to try it out and test my theories and do back testing, which you can run these replays on Bookmap of every day, draw the volume events and trade them for yourself. Or use Apex, and you're not blowing out. You're spending, when they have the 90% off, and I think that's the one that's coming. I would bet on it, but I don't know. It's $29 to do this. $29, right? So that's my advice to you guys. Take it or leave it. All right. So this is a new event in Nasdaq. Remember, I'm long here, so I'm going to trail my stop to this event. And where are we at? This is an Izzy zone. Remember I said if I get in an event here, I'll get out of my long and I'll flip and go short Izzy. It's not surprising me. It is struggling in this area, right? Hold on, somebody's texting me in my room. Thank you, Big L. Yeah, I just saw that. So my room, this is what I want for my trade room too. So if you come in my trade room, my goal is it acts like a trading firm, a trading desk where people are all sitting around talking about ideas, alerting one another of events and things like that. So Big Al in my room just told me there is a new NQ event to trail my stop, right? It helps me sometimes too because I'm just doing so much stuff.
Sell CO 200 for contract.
That's the crude number. I can't keep up with it, so it's very helpful to me too. So if you come in there, please participate. That's all I ask. And you're going to learn it. You're not going to learn if you don't participate anyway, so participate. So I think this might be a one-tick zone here. You can see it just flatlined. Let's see. Started spiking. Maybe not. Hold on. Started spiking there, so this looks like so this is how I do it, right? Start over here and then you just move across. So I'm going to start here right now. It's a one-tick or a couple-tick zone. One-tick zone, something like that, right? That's where it started spiking. Spiked up more there. You can see the red sell bubble triggering the SPY ice. Now go across here. Hold on. Uh-oh. The tick strike just reset. All right, so I'm not seeing more come in, so this might be a one-tick zone here. Yeah, it was, right? So when it flatlines, so I have mine set at, this is reset mode, set at a minute. These are my settings for this, right? Reset mode, icebergs are a minute, stops are 10 seconds. Probably too long for both. And you can see this one was too long. It just flatlined for a minute. It's going to draw for the full minute until the end of until the new minutes start there, right? Does that mean there was icebergs coming in this whole time? No, I used to think there was, and I was doing it incorrectly for years, but now we have it down, and this is how this is drawing as well. Most of the time it's pretty accurate, like I said. So this is not part of it. So you got to figure out where the actual spike was, and that was that. And so this is only a one tick zone. So the zone is 525 to 2450. So now what I do here is I go to my spreadsheet, plug this in, 16 by 25. Of course, I can't remember 2 seconds ago what I said. 2450. Oops. ATR, very important, 21.52. All right, so I already changed it. So my stop was at, where was my stop before? 73.50, remember? Now with this new event, say I go long of this event, my stop would be at 99.75. So for my first long that I took, I'm going to now trail my stop to this event, right? So I was down here with my stop. This is how I do it. You can do it however you want, or you can listen to me because I've watched about 10 million of these things. It was down here. Now, that was an ATR at the time below this event. That's what I demand the market push a full ATR and then some to stop me out so I don't get algoed to death, right? Now we have a new event, so now I'm going to trail my stop from there to wherever this is. Hopefully it's not right in the middle of this zone, because if it is, I'm going to move it out a little bit. So let's see where that is, because I don't like stopping out in prior events. Stops at 99.75 now. So I just saved myself, 23 points of risk. 99.75, of course, is, no, it's just below here. Well, I'll put it at 97.75 because it is right in the bottom of the zone, right? So I'm going to put it at 97.75. Yes, mouthwash, thank you. That is an Izzy zone. I just talked about that. All right, so I'm going to put now trail my stop to 97.75 for this initial long, original long, I should say, and I could potentially add to this long here depending on what this event does. 99.75. Hold on. So I had bark and lick on here, so I'm just trailing my stop for both of these. All right, so those are working.
Ice iceberg by ZL, 153 contracts.
All right, so now to make this a bullish event, what do we need to see? It's all in the spreadsheet. Validation price, 46.50. So if 46.50 hits, I could just add to this trade, right? Touches 46.50, comes back, retest failure, I'll put on another bark, I'll put on another lick. So you can see on a trending day, there's a way you keep putting on trades, you have multiple positions on, but you're just trailing to the most recent event, right? So those are working. This is getting this area, but this is an Izzy trade too. So if this fails out of here, as long as if it does not touch that validation price, if it comes back to stop me out of my longs, I'm going to turn. I'm going to turn around and go short, because here we are, an important area, volume event. I'll go short. Would not surprise me whatsoever to see this thing fail here either. This is the next place up that I would watch. The high volume node of this balance. This isn't an Izzy zone too, but the high volume node of this balance area is basically the bottom of this Izzy zone. Very important. So this market is still in bearish state, in my opinion. Not my opinion, it is, because it broke down out of this, came back to the bottom. It's still bearish. Still bearish up to the high volume node. If it gets through the high volume node, then that's a failed breakdown of this balance, and this thing's probably going to rip off the page, just like crude. Right? Didn't rip off the page, but this was a failed breakdown. We talked about this earlier. Guys, this is all the same. It does not matter what market you're trading. It's just structure. It's loaded up trader, so on and forth. That was a failed breakdown, right? It did fail up here at the high volume node of this puppy, so it's a battle between these two balances. This one's bigger, this one's out. But this is how you can come up with a thesis on what's really going on. I'm trading both ways, but you can trade bigger when they align to the volume events. I know I say the same thing 100 times in a webinar. All right, so if this does fail out of here, I'm going to be out of the bark. If it doesn't touch that, doesn't touch that 46.50, it's about to do it right now. But if it doesn't do it and it holds here, I'm going to go short Izzy. I'm not going to put that in right now. Let's just see what happens here, and then I'll be looking to add to this trade, this long. I'm still long Russell, I like to call it, because one time I mistyped it in. That's not Russell. That's natural gas. One time I mistyped it in the voice that you hear, and it said Russell, and it stuck. It makes me laugh, and you got to laugh in this game, or you'll lose your mind. All right, so this was the last event. I can trail my stop. The bottom was the same, so my stop's still the same. And I can add to this too. This one would look like it was a little wider, but it's in the same area as that prior buy ice that we talked about. Actually, no, this looks like it's one tick too. So I'm just going to keep. I already have my stop working to this event, and I can still go long, add to this trade off of this event, like I'm going to add. I don't think this got the ATR out of here though, to confirm this as a long setup yet. Let's see. I feel like I've been talking a lot today. 78 is the validation price. Did not get up to 78. So this still could become a bearish event. In the middle of nowhere, Izzy zones. Again, I am watching this very closely. Up, I will get out of all. I don't care where we're at. I don't care if we're at the lug. I usually hold the lug level or an opposing event. This is such an important area. I will be shocked. I'd be willing to bet multiple rounds of golf that this thing doesn't rip right through here. That it at least fails at it one time. And we saw overnight. Like I've shown this a couple times. Look at this thing. You think it's important to know where these events happen? I mean, look at that. Nope, 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 nope. Die. Try it again. Die. Try it again. Selling tail. This is going to take a lot to get through that activity that I showed you guys earlier. So keep that in mind. And if it does get through there, watch this next one up. You'll see a reaction there too, very likely. Victor asked if I can show lugs on NQ. Yes, I should be looking at that anyway, especially to see where I'm going to potentially be getting out of these trades. So we got new lugs to the downside. We'll go to crude here in a second. So we talked about thesis earlier. I talked about this earlier. Something was up that this could not get inside here, and it was back inside here. There you go. What do you expect? The other side, straight to it right now. Built new lugs. That's bearish as well. What do you expect when it builds a new lug? It should hold prior blue, directional yellow. And what do you expect? Next blue. Right? So that's all happening. Hopefully I didn't miss a trade on this event. But actually, let me show the NQ lugs real quick. Somebody asked in my room. And guys, that's in here too. You get discounts to all this stuff. Everything I got listed here, you get discount to. Here's lugs, right? Join our 3-day trial and say you saw it on Bookmap, and you get special pricing for those two. All right, so here's your lugs. So I'm not really seeing much here to get out of this trade. It's only the original trade's only about 10 points in my favor anyway. You are a daily value area. It's just one standard deviation from VWAP. You're close to yesterday's value area. I don't usually get out of yesterday's value area. If it's confluent with something. Actually, this one I may get out of a couple here because that's confluent with baby lug. You can see that right there. So if it starts to struggle there, that's where you want to use your tick strike and your market pulse to see if it's got the energy to push through. If it starts to fail, I can get out of some. Let's see if it gets up there while we're on the webinar. Not holding my breath. Anyway, let's look at crude. I know I heard something under the number. I just didn't get over here quick enough. Let's see. So this looks like it's, we don't know what it is yet, but let's plug it in. I don't know if it's a Dumb and Dumber or a Stop and Hold, one of the 7 wonders of the world trading setups. Now you can see they're going nuts on, hold on, I gotta X out of this, I'll bring it back up. It's not having issues with my tick strike. Hold on. But this is what I mean. So imagine you're watching this at an important area, this kind of activity. Hold on here. Just watch this for a second. These were all lighting up a second ago. Then you could be like, well, I don't need to get out here. They're buying these Mega or Fang or whatever the hell they call it nowadays. They're buying all these. They're buying this stuff. It just helps you stay in the trade. I don't know why this isn't staying locked. It's supposed to connect. Come on. All right, I guess that's not happening. Tick strike's having issues today. All right, but this is the main thing you want to be watching anyway. All right, so let's see where the stop run occurred. So remember, these sweeps get first right to the order book, and a lot of times they trigger the stop run, and you don't know where the stop run is in the sweeps, so you got to start them at the sweeps. I know it wasn't this price because this price already traded, so I would probably move this. No, that looks right. So 71.98 down to 92. So this one drew perfectly. It's such a I don't want to say godsend, but not to have to draw these zones manually has saved me hours off my life, or back onto my life, I should say. 71.98 to 71.92. Again, that's in that. Just go to this, It's the very first thing. Click on that. Here's a survey they want. Go to Bookmap Discord. Contact him. I got my own room in there. Or it's for there. Just quickly. I know I go over a lot of basic stuff, guys, but you got to remember this is.
Stop by NQ.
Right, that's good.
292
I
contracts.
can trail my stop to that. Anyway, it's the Bookmap Discord. Go down here. Scott Zones down here. Where is it at? There's just so many channels in this damn thing. Here we go. Right here. Go in here and ask for. There you go. All right. So we got a new event here. I'll go back to crude in a second. It's kind of just meandering around here. I don't have anything on anyway. I stopped out of that last portion that I was long. All right, let's see here. Russell's just doing nothing. All right, so this is that area too. So I'm getting out right now. Well, let's use this to judge, right? I just got done saying I'll get out of a couple if it struggles up here, right? Where are we at? We're at baby lug. See, it's already starting to fail. And yesterday's value area low. I don't usually trade off the single day. I only trade off composites, the days that are merged. But this is confluent with here. See that baby lug? So let's see if it can push through. This is telling me okay so far. Let's take a look at market pulse. This is just helping me get out of a portion, right? I'm going to trail my stop for my entire amount to this event, but I'm going to get out of a portion like right here if it can't push through. We already know stop runs are usually not initiative buying. They are sometimes. It's a stop and hold. But more likely this would fail up here. We'll see. Market pulse. Not seeing a ton. You do see the sweeps indicator here. So that somebody is buy sweeping this. These two were buy sweeps. They were not stop runs. This other one was the stop run. So this area should hold. I'm not going to wait for it to get all the way below here. If this fails out of here, say these get quiet, this starts to fail, I'm just going to get out. Well, how many do I have on here? I only got 5 on. So I'll get out of 2 of them. If this fails, I'm giving this a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. All right. Let's put this zone in so I can trail my stop. Minimum 565 to 59.25. See how this is? See how I'm like, okay, well, why do I want to get out if there's no sellers here? They're buying the bejesus out of this thing, right? See that? That's how you want to use this stuff. Tick strike, market pulse. Let me plug this in, 65 to 59.25. So remember, I already trailed my stop once on this long. Now I'm going to trail it again when I put on this new, or put in this new zone. 15.565. 16.5. What did I say? Guys, my short-term memory is just shot. 559.25. ATR, obviously important. That's all I talk about. 21.51. So it's the same thing. All right, so now I get to move my stop to 34.50. So now that's basically break even, right? That's right where I got in. So now I have no risk on this trade. That's how I trail my stops. Did I trail my stop to break even once it started to move for me? No. The market doesn't care where I want to break even. The market cares about volume events. I know if this fails, I don't want to be long, right? So now I'm moving it. Remember, it was down here. Then I moved it to here. Now I'm moving it up to here based on something that's happening in the market, not because I want to just break even if it comes back. Please, I beg of you, anything you learn from these webinars, it's stop doing stupid crap that most of the traders do, and that's why most traders don't make money. What did I just fill on there? Oh. Hold on. What did I just fill on? Hold on. What just happened there? Why did I just get out of my lick trade? I didn't put an order in there. See, guys, this is what I'm talking about. This stuff that happens. It's like, put it back on. I just got out of the lick trade. I didn't have an order. I didn't think I had an order working. Like, these are the mistakes that happened to me that cost me thousands of dollars. So, all right, I gotta trail these. That was really weird.
Crude ice iceberg by CL, 150 contracts.
It's not like I had an order in there from earlier. I have no idea what that was. But I got back in. I'm sure it cost me something there. My lick trade like canceled out. I don't know why. All right, so I'm in those. Now I'm keeping an eye on, red lug. I will get out of all these at red lug. I don't, you can see red lug is confluent with this point of control. I mean, I'll watch it here. Let's watch it. If this thing's still going ape shit, as my grandpa used to say, then I'll hold on to it. But I do not mess with these lugs, man. They are ridiculously powerful. I'm, if it does push through, they build new ones all the time, right? And you can judge. You can judge on relative volume a lot of times too. You can see this relative volume is picking up a little bit, but it's not crazy. That's how it usually busts through the lugs right away if you got high relative volume.
By CL, 157 contracts.
All right, I think I just messed this trade here. So you got new stuff coming in here. See, this is why it's so hard, guys, and why I make mistakes, because I'm trying to show all these different markets, and then I miss the exit on one, and then I miss the entry on the other one, and I randomly get stopped out. So I'm sacrificing for you guys. So some people are not appreciative of that. Let me see where we're at here in crude. And I lost my chart, of course. Hold on. Here it is. So this is an Izzy zone. I would take this long. The first one was an Izzy zone too. It was like right there. So this is a buy ice in this zone. This has traded back and through this a few times, but I still think it's important because it is the high volume node basically of that balance area. So I would take that. I am definitely not, but I was bullish. Remember, we talk about what should happen in these markets. What should have happened here? This thing had a failed breakdown. It should have ripped. It didn't. Then what happened? It had a failed breakout. Then it had a failed breakdown, same structure. That should have ripped. Now it's back here. Now this thing doesn't know what it wants to do. But this is not looking bullish to me. This could hold. This could just continue to build balance here. But I'm just saying for a thesis, guys, I'll still take the long here. But I was trying to come up, hey, is there a reason I can go long double size here, right? I don't love the long in this Izzy zone. I'm going to take it, but I'm not taking it double size. And that's all I do with my thesis. I don't skip trades because I think something should happen. That's all I preach about, right? If I have my rules, I have to trade like an algo. Algos don't trade off of feelings. Algos trade on their rules. You're trading against algos. Trade like an algo. All right, this is almost at the bottom. This might be a pick trade coming up here too. Profiles encouraged. It's one of my, again, an important area. We've been seeing these work nonstop in NASDAQ. If we get a chance, I'll show you a couple from the last couple days. That's this one here. And it goes, take any trade that moves into a market profile composite, high or low. This would be low. Trade be taken if market moves out of composite, then back into, we don't need to discuss that right now, but that's another variation. This one would just be a straight move into the bottom of this thing. If I get a volume event down here, I take that.
150 contracts.
As of right now, I would take this Izzy if this holds. This potential Titanic setup. You see buy ice is coming in here. So you had the stop run. I didn't do anything with that. I think I could have actually gotten short that because the algo guy is bearish. So I could have gotten short that, I think, but I didn't. But this is the new, we'll look at that here in a second. I probably could still do that, but we'll see. And then now we have new events. 204, forcing, so you got almost 700 buy ice here. Threshold's 150. That's important. It's an important area. All right. Spiked up there. And then a flat line. Now see, this caught it. This drew perfectly. Good job, drawing tool. Good job, Johan. You see that spike right there? Right there. That was accurate. Then you had more, a lot more. That triggered there. You can see this is one house too. See it on the on chart, this yellow line. I have mine set for yellow. There's more there, triggered there, right there. More there, triggered there, right there. I don't think this came down to here. Yeah, it did. Another good job. See how that spiked? Picked it up. So I got the bottom at 64. I got the top at 81. I'm just going to combine these two. $81 to 64. ATR is 20.257. Just tell me it's rotating about 26 ticks every 5 minutes. All right, so that's the first step, right? We already know where we're at. We know this is an Izzy event or Izzy zone. So I would take this long, Izzy long, aggressively because it's a move, straight move into that Izzy zone that I just showed you, right? That long will be at 72.11. I could put on 7. Let me put that in, and then we'll talk about potentially going short off of that prior event. This is a variation I'll show you. Let me put this in first. 72.11. Guys, I'm not bullish this market, but this is an Izzy zone. I got an event. If it moves out of here bullish, then I'm taking the trade, right? Oh, wait, I forgot to get out of some of these damn NASDAQ. Hold on a second. Damn it. Hold on, I got 5. See how I got quiet? Here, let me get out of a couple of these and then we'll go over. All right, I'm out of 2 of the 5. This was the area that I was talking about, and now it's crickets, right? Things stop going crazy. That was this area. Well, it's a little above here, but I guess I could have held it, but that's fine. I'm fine with it. Right at point of control. I'm getting out of all. I mean, here's another example too, where you may not want to wait. Do you really want to try to squeeze out 8 more points? Like I could have been out of all these up here. You don't need to try to squeeze out right here. Like say you were short, you're going to squeeze right to the lug. I mean, that's close enough. Get the hell out. You don't need to try to squeeze 5 to 10 points out in the NASDAQ. So I should have just been out there. I just, of course, wasn't on the screen. I'm sure I'll get burned on that for some reason, but that's just how it works for me. I know I complain, but guys, you do this for 25 years, you'll be talking to yourself too. So that was up here. What is the validation price to make this long? So this is where you'll have, this is a little more subjective here if you're using the lugs. Now say this does, we talk about this every day in my trade room. Say this turns bullish. I don't think this was ATR, it wasn't. Say it goes ATR retest failure. Well, you'll be going along right into that red lug. You may say, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pass on that because I know how strong the lugs are. I call them lugs, they're lug wick levels. I don't want to say that 80 times, I call them lugs. Say it busts through, then you can wait for new events and then get long. So I probably will not go long off of this event because you have the lug there, and then what else do you have? Like you have the high volume node, this balance area. I'm not going to go long right here off of that event. This is extremely important. This could easily fail, like we talked about. If this gets through here, then I start getting events, then I'm going to try double size to the upside. But as of right now, I'm not even going to take this long off of this last event because we got that high volume node and we have the Ludwig levels. So I will pass. I don't usually do that. I usually take them all for my trade room to see them all. But in this case, I'll go ahead and pass if this does do ATR retest failure. I'm already long. I'm not going to add to it is what I'm saying. And I'll get out at that red lug. I should have already gotten out. Come on. Give me one more push. Come on, MAGAs. Actually, we have not even looked at. This is my fault. I really, this is so important. This information here, this options, the spot gamma stuff. S&P is not doing much. Just see these other ones. Max 7's ripping, right? So this is helping drive the NASDAQ. Russell's starting to turn, and actually, I'm still long this puppy. Let me see where we're at here. We're real close to that buy ice I've been talking about, that broken ice. So I'm not messing around up here. I will get out of these longs. And then quickly, lugs. Let's see what we got here. Guys, when you come in my room or whatever, if you're doing what I'm doing, you don't need all this stuff. All you need is the SI indicator and the rhythmic data feed. These are things I use, the additional things I use, right? If you don't want to use this stuff, fine. I'm not saying, certain people complain like, oh, there's just too much. I can't afford all this stuff. All you need is the Bookmap and the SI indicator to be profitable, and then the areas that you use. That's fine. These are the areas I use. If you don't want to use them, don't use them, right? But the only thing you have to have if you come to my trade room, or if you're trying to follow what I'm doing, is the Bookmap and the SI indicator. Or else it's, I don't care I don't care how successful you are. If you don't think this stuff is an edge, you're out of your mind. It's the edge, right? So if you're not using this, you don't have all the information. So if you don't want to use it, don't use it. If you don't want to use what I'm looking at with this other stuff, fine. But I implore you to at least get this stuff, because it's the driver of markets, futures markets. All right, I'm not messing around up here. I'm going to give this a chance at this lug, and I'm going to get out of these, and I'm going to be out of these Russells here in a second too. Get ready. You're ready to get out of this puppies. I'll give it a chance. I'm watching. Let's watch the lug and this right quick. See if I can do this. Okay, here we go with the technology. See how close? I'm not messing around. I'm getting out of these 2 seconds here. If I don't see some kind of intense buying on Mr. Tick Strike. Come on. All right, I'm out. Hold on. Come on, NASDAQ. I'm out of Lick. I'm out of Bart. Close enough. I don't need to squeeze out 5 points. Sorry. Not happening. It was a little more than 5 points, but that's fine. I'm fine with that trade. That was a good trade. You guys actually got to see a trade because the trade's starting to pick up, right? So if you've been struggling in the last 3-4 months, you know, you don't just abandon what you're doing if you know you have an edge, right? Like my P&L's been going up and down for 3 months because it's just this trade has been shit. Pardon my language, but it's starting to pick up, and I've had, you know, yesterday I had a good day, a good morning, and then you know, when the trade's rocking and rolling, I kill it. When it's not, that's what I tell you guys all the time. If you're going to get into this business, you've got to accept this is what it's going to look like most of the time. Make a little, lose a little, make a little, lose a little. You'll have little drawdowns. Then you'll have a huge day, then back to that. And then another huge day. You'll have about 5 or 10 huge days in a year, and that's going to make up almost your entire P&L. If you can't accept this is what trading is, it's not going to happen for you. But anyway, if you've been struggling in the last couple months, don't abandon what you're doing. I mean, if you know you have an edge, you have to ride it out, or don't trade. Say, I don't trade November and December. That's fine too. Right? All right, I'm out of that. I was going to do something with crude, now I can't remember. And we're almost at the time here, so if you got any questions, throw them in the YouTube. I've been doing a lot of talking today. Tom, hey Scott, I'm looking at the SI indicator courses. There's 2. My Ask What got updated in 2023 course, a ton of stuff. So I showed you. So the original course just talks about, didn't even have this setup, and I'm adding another setup. It had these 5 setups. It doesn't talk about anything. So this is all about, damn it. I missed that trade. What I should have done on this one, I just messed up. I'm pretty sure this was an ATR. I'm hoping it wasn't. I'll look at it here in a second. But this was the trade to go short Bark and Lick, bye-bye crude. Crude's in trouble. It should have ripped. So my thesis now, definitely if it gets through this zone, it's going to be double size. And it's already through. You see, and this is telling you something too. If these markets knife right through these zones, my inflection zones, that we already know how powerful they are. What did I just get filled on? What is going on? Oh, that's crap. Hold on. I had soybeans working and they invalidated. Hold on. I wanted to go short earlier, but that already invalidated.
NQ Iceberg by NQ 206 contract.
Of course, it was a loser. Lost $25.
RT 211 contract.
All right, we got new events. Anyway, if it rips right through a zone, it's telling you something. And this one just ripped right through that zone. I'm going, yeah, this is the last stand. This is where this directional. I can promise you, if it gets through this zone, I'm probably trading 3 times size. This market's going to 0. Free gas for everybody. So keep an eye on that. I'm not going to have a time to put all this stuff in, but if you have Bookmap, and you should. Anyway, back to my course. This is almost 5 hours long. My original course was a couple hours long. It just went over. This was 2020, guys. This is right when I started using it. Saw an edge, put it out there. I still trade the same stuff. But this is now talks about, geez. Oh, the other thing I forgot. Sorry, guys. See, this is why I make so many mistakes. So I should have been out of this. I'm going to get out of these, Russell, and I'm going to adjust to this new event. That was close enough to that stuff, and I never got out of it. Let me just get out of these. All right, I'm out of the Russell, too.
NQ Iceberg by NQ 327.
All right, we're at the time. Jeez, here we go. This is exactly like yesterday morning. So this, obviously, somebody's buying this. Does that mean it's going to go up? No. We have a broken ice setup. Let me cover this stuff real quick too in the course. So the course goes over all these other things. The thresholds are updated, the settings, what you need, downloading how to download the stuff, get it on your computer, adjusting your thresholds, the subchart, sweeps indicator settings. None of this stuff was in the original course. More importantly, how to draw the zones. It starts out how I was doing it wrong, basic way, and then it gets more and more enhanced right? So this is how you should be doing it. So I just left these in here to show the evolution of this. And then you got the ATR, how to use the ATR for your entries and stops, advanced trading in zones, there's different variations, and then you get to see my smiling face at the end. So this is worth the cost alone just to see me there. Just kidding. So that's the difference between the two courses. You can get the old course, it's just not anywhere. I mean, it goes over the basic setups. You can, that's why I still have it up there. If it wasn't relevant, I wouldn't have it up there anymore. That's why I put it half price, because there's so much new information. But you can definitely get enough to get going with the original course. Right. Are we currently at blue lug on NQ? Mixter, you got to get the lugs, my man. She is out of town. She's having some issues with a family member. So if she doesn't get right back to you guys, give her some slack, please. She's in my trade room too, so that's another great thing. When lugs roll to new, or if something's wrong with them, she comes in there and lets us know. What am I looking at here? What did you want? NASDAQ. So you will not get a verbal lashing for not having the lugs. Well, first of all, we're not at the blue lug. We'd never be at the blue lug. Red lug, yeah, that's why I just got out of there. That was close enough for me to get out of that long. Anyway, give her a break if she's not responding right away. I'm learning a lot. Definitely appreciate it. I think Annie's in the room. I'm glad you're learning, Annie. Guys, this is not, it seems like a lot. It seems like I've heard from many people, it seems like you're drinking out of a fire hose. One, I'm trading live, right? So you gotta give me some slack. I know I talk fast and I know I'm showing you a million things, but I'm trading live markets. This isn't like showing you stuff after the fact, right? But once you learn this stuff, it is very simplistic, and that's how I like it. That's how I've always traded. That's the best way to make money. The more intricate you make it, the more you're going to sit there and can't make decisions. All you need to know are these events, know how to trade them, know whether long or short. You can trade bigger with a thesis. That gets a little more involved, right? But just basic stuff, you can trade these, and it's very simple. But if it seems too fast for you, it's not that difficult, I'm telling you. If I can do it, anybody can do it. A caveman could do it. Isn't that the commercial? All right, I'm out. Keep an eye. I would combine all of these because these were back to back to back. You had 258, 295, 387. So you're talking 800-900 here. Looks like 73 down to 46. Large zone, but you got a lot of size. So just an important area. Does that mean the buy ice is going to be right? No. Right? Odds are they will hold it, but we have a setup called broken ice. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they're doing here. Are they covering? Are they covering their shorts? Are they hedging options? I don't care. I care that there's somebody in here selling aggressively. There's somebody absorbing it. Somebody's going to be right. Somebody's going to be wrong. I'm taking advantage of that. That is it. That is the core of my trading. That's it. That's all you need. Take it. Take my advice or don't. There you go. And then here's all this activity in crude. And I'm going to draw that and see where we're at there. And just a quick look. This is right down to the bottom of this, just right through it. So this is another thing telling you this market's going to get absolutely walloped over the next. It might happen today. My thesis now is bye-bye crude. Zero gas prices for everybody. Close to the blue log here too. All right, I'm out of gas. I can't talk anymore. I do this every day in my trade room. Hopefully, lately I've been taking votes. Some guy was bitching about that somewhere, but he only has 2 people on his webinars. No, in the afternoon, I have plenty of people on the webinars. In the morning, we got 20 or 30 guys in the webinars. Guys, I've done no advertising for this room. This is the only advertising I've done, right? And I do that for a reason, because I don't really want right now hundreds of people coming at me, right? As I get help and stuff, we get the zone drawing tool, then I'll open it up and advertise. But the point is, there's plenty of people on the AM webinar. Who cares if they're not? Even if it's just me, you're going to learn. But in the afternoon, for the last 3 months, I'll take a vote, because if the market sucks, I'm not just going to watch paint dry and talk to myself, right? So I take a vote. If people want a webinar, I get on. If they don't, a lot of people are not there anyway. So there's just a lot of nonsense going on out there, guys. Just this is what I do every day. So if you think you can handle this, then you can handle the trade room, and it's very simplistic. And I have mentoring as well, so on and so forth. So that's all I got. Sorry for the rants. I will see you next.